Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping straight into Figure AI. This is the startup that, well, it feels like it almost came out of nowhere to really grab the spotlight in robotics.
Yeah, big time.
They're building these humanoid robots, bots that walk, seem to think, and might actually be working alongside us sooner than we think.
And the core story here, it isn't just about a walking robot, so that's cool. It's the sheer scale, the ambition. Remember, early 2024.
Oh, yeah.
Figure AI, only founded in 2022 by Brett Adcock, pulls in this massive funding round. We're talking $675 million.
And the names involved.
Exactly. Microsoft, NVIDIA, Jeff Bezos. I mean, when you get that kind of backing, it feels like maybe this is a real turning point for humanoids.
That funding immediately pushed their valuation up to, around $2.6 billion, which is just staggering for such a young company.
It is.
But here's the tension, right? The thing we really need to dig into today. That money implies they have to succeed at mass adoption. It's not just about cool tech demos anymore. So our mission for this deep dive is to look at the tech figures betting on the hardware, the AI brain they call Helix, and then, weigh that promise against the, frankly, brutal reality of scaling.
The scaling target is huge.
Shipping 100,000 robots in the coming years? I mean, can the tech actually live up to that kind of crazy ambition?
That's absolutely the right question. Because if you look historically, general-purpose robotics, it often stumbles right at that scaling phase.
Yeah.
Getting one prototype to work is exciting, but commercial success, that means reliability, safety, cost-effectiveness, all at a huge volume.
So we need to figure out if Figure AI has genuinely cracked the problems that, stopped others before them. Okay, let's start right there with the manufacturing reality. They set up BotQ, right, their facility in San Jose.
Yes, BotQ, aiming for a capacity, they say, of about 12,000 units a year initially.
Okay, 12,000 a year. But the public goal, the big headline number, is 10 times that, eventually 100,000 robots.
That volume is, it's breathtaking.
Yeah, you're right.
And it immediately brings up practical issues.
Like what?
Well, mass production means every single part, every joint, every sensor has to survive serious wear and tear. And not just in a clean lab, but out in the real world. Messy warehouses, maybe even homes.
Okay.
Think about it. If you're selling, say, a $10,000 industrial tool, maybe a 1% failure rate is annoying but manageable.
Right.
But if your product is a, let's say, $50,000 humanoid robot working shoulder to shoulder with people, a 1% failure rate, that's potentially catastrophic. Maintenance nightmares, liability. It's a different game.
Yeah, that makes sense. It kind of makes you wonder if chasing that huge number, 100,000, risks pushing out a product before it's truly, truly robust.
It's a valid concern. And that challenge, the robustness challenge, it gets even harder when you look at how the robots themselves are evolving.
Talk about that evolution. They started with Figure 01.
Right. Figure 01 was the initial prototype, sort of the proof of concept, but they moved fast.
To Figure 02.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
Figure 02 showed significant improvement. Better sensors, more fluid, kind of human-like motion. And it was explicitly aimed at industrial and logistics tasks, controlled environments.
And they landed that deal with BMW, right?
Yes, that was crucial. A commercial agreement with BMW to actually put these general-purpose robots into car production. That's a huge validation for the industrial concept.
Okay, so Figure 02 for industry. But the current buzz is around Figure 03.
Figure 03 is where the ambition really ramps up. It's specifically targeting the home market.
Homes, that's a massive leap in complexity.
Huge. It demands dramatically better dexterity, much finer motor control. This strategic shift is really important to understand.
How so?
Well, think about moving boxes in a predictable warehouse. That needs strong, maybe rigid actuators, high force.
Okay.
But dealing with, say, a fragile plate in a kitchen, or helping someone get up from a chair in a cluttered living room, that needs compliant movement, soft touch, sophisticated sensors, the ability to adapt instantly.
So they're basically trying to solve two very different physical problems almost at the same time: industrial strength and delicate home use.
Exactly. The switch to general-purpose home use means mastering perception and manipulation in environments that are constantly changing, totally unpredictable, way harder than a structured factory floor.
So the hardware needs flexibility.
But the intelligence has to be the core, the glue holding it all together.
And that intelligence, that's their AI, Helix.
Right, Helix. They describe it as a Vision Language Action Model, VLA.
VLA. What does that actually mean in practice?
So the VLA model is probably their key differentiator. The idea, it allows the robot to understand complex, high-level human commands.
Like
Like if you said, hey, robot, tidy up this table and put the dirty dishes in the sink.
okay.
That's an abstract goal, right? The VLA's job is to translate that into potentially thousands of tiny, precise motor commands to actually do the task safely, efficiently. It's supposed to move beyond just following pre-programmed scripts.
Towards actual reasoning in the real world.
That's the goal. Genuine reasoning.
But vision systems, they've historically been a major weak point for robots in messy real-world places.
Yeah.
What makes Helix potentially better?
Well, the key is supposed to be the integration of action, the A in VLA.
Okay.
Helix combines visual understanding, what am I seeing, with language interpretation, what was I asked to do, and feeds that directly into the body's control system. It's meant to be a tight feedback loop.
See, understand, act, adjust.
Constantly adjusting. But the computational power needed just to mimic what we do without thinking, it's immense.
You can almost see that complexity in the way they move, can't you? The Figure 02 videos, they show that very human-like walk, including things like the heel strikes. Subtle detail, but important. And the arm swings coordinated for balance.
Yeah, and those aren't just cosmetic. They're not just trying to make it look human for fun.
Right.
Those movements, the heel strike, the arm swing, they are biomechanically vital for energy efficiency when walking and crucially for recovering balance.
Ah.
So when the VLA brain, Helix, decides, okay, pick up that box, the robot's center of gravity shifts instantly. The low-level control system has to react immediately, adjusting the arms, the legs, the gait to stop it from falling over.
That's synergy between the high-level thinking of Helix and the low-level mechanics.
Right.
That sounds like the make or break point.
Absolutely. That's what determines if these things go from impressive demos to actually useful, reliable helpers.
Okay, so assuming the brain and body can eventually handle the tasks, we still come back to the manufacturing and the competition. Figure AI's approach seems really broad. Industrial and home use, that feels ambitious compared to others.
It is ambitious. It definitely contrasts with some key competitors. You look at Agility Robotics with their Digit robot.
That's just more logistics, right?
Right.
Warehouses, package delivery.
Primarily, yes. Controlled or semi-controlled environments.
Yeah.
Then you have Boston Dynamics, legendary for dynamic movement, agility, but often focused on more specialized inspection or research applications.
And Tesla.
Well, Tesla's Optimus is obviously tied very closely into Tesla's own manufacturing, their AI development, their data streams from cars. It's kind of its own ecosystem.
So Figure is trying to be the true general-purpose player across multiple domains.
That seems to be the pitch. But the risk there is that you end up fighting highly specialized, very focused competitors in every single market niche you try to enter.
Yeah, it's not just about who builds the best robot, but who masters a specific application and scales it effectively, and who gets the best real-world data the fastest to improve their AI.
Precisely. And that brings us inevitably to the social side of things.
Right, because when you build a machine designed to look and act like a human and you want it to be general purpose, the problems aren't just technical anymore.
Not at all. They become deeply ethical and economic.
Yeah.
If Figure 03 or something like it actually starts operating in homes, you immediately hit huge privacy questions.
The robot has cameras, sensors, mapping my living room, learning my habits.
Exactly. Who owns that data? Who controls it? How is it secured? When the robot has memory to learn tasks in your private space, that's sensitive stuff.
And beyond privacy,
Huh.
what about responsibility? If Helix is truly reasoning and autonomous, not just following scripts, what happens when it makes a mistake? If a VLA-driven robot causes damage, or worse, injury, who's liable? The owner, Figure AI, the AI itself.
That's a massive legal and regulatory gray area. We likely need entirely new frameworks to handle autonomous robotic actions.
Absolutely. And then there's the big one, jobs.
Yeah, the economic impact.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, logistics, those are the clear initial targets. If they actually deploy 100,000 units, that will displace human workers doing repetitive tasks.
No way around it.
So we have to start talking now about what that means.
Yeah.
How do we define human value in work if machines take over more physical and maybe eventually cognitive tasks? Public trust, transparency about the impact, that's going to be critical for Figure AI or any company like them to get social license to operate at scale.
Okay, so we've got these amazing tech milestones, Helix AI, the biomechanics, the incredible funding, but they're up against these just monumental challenges in scaling, safety, ethics, public acceptance.
It's a complex picture.
So for you listening, what are the key things to watch now? What are the next signs of whether Figure is on the right track?
Okay, first, I'd say keep a close eye on the results coming out of that BMW partnership.
The real-world industrial dev.
Exactly. That's the proving ground for durability, reliability, how well it integrates into an actual workflow. Forget the flashy demos. Watch the factory floor data if you can find it.
Good point. What else?
Second, we need concrete details on Figure 03 for the consumer market. What's the actual release timeline? And crucially, what's the price point? That will tell us a lot about whether their home market strategy is remotely realistic anytime soon.
Right. Price is everything for mass adoption. Third,
watch how well Helix, the VLA model, actually generalizes. Can it learn a task like sorting recycling in one kitchen setup and then successfully adapt to do a similar but slightly different sorting task in a completely different kitchen?
that ability to generalize, that's the holy grail, isn't it? The difference between a fancy tool and a truly useful helper.
That's the core of general purpose. And finally, watch the competition and the overall scaling race. Who actually manages to produce reliable, safe units in the tens of thousands?
Because ultimately, that's the bottleneck.
Figure AI definitely has the funding, the buzz, but the next few years will show if they have the engineering discipline, the manufacturing prowess to match that billion-dollar ambition.
It's fascinating. Figure AI is making these claims. Some feel like pure science fiction, others feel unsettlingly close to being real right now.
And it really brings us back to a fundamental question about humanoid robots. This whole debate. Do we actually want robots to behave exactly like humans, copying our movements, maybe even our inefficiencies, our ways of thinking? Or do we ultimately want them to perform the tasks we need done, but better than humans can, leveraging speed, strength, precision, endurance that we just don't have?
That's a really provocative thought. Human-like or superhuman?
It's the philosophical heart of it, I think.
Okay, definitely something to chew on. We always want you to keep thinking after these deep dives, so here are 3 questions for you. First, thinking about Figure 03 and that shift towards the home, would you personally welcome a general-purpose humanoid robot as a coworker or maybe a helper in your home today, given the current state of the tech? Second, considering that huge $675 million investment, what do you think is the single biggest non-technical hurdle Figure AI has to clear to scale successfully? Is it regulation, public trust, cost, something else entirely? And finally, the big one. If robots really do start taking over more of the mundane, repetitive work, how does that fundamentally change how we as humans define our own value, especially in the context of work and the economy?
Big questions, and we'll actually touch on some of that in our next deep dive. We're calling it Home, Robots, and You. Are we ready to share our space with machines?
Sounds fascinating. Looking forward to it.
So until then, stay curious and stay critical.
We'll talk to you next time on The Deep Dive.